Okay everyone, I'm excited to be doing a review on my new Smith & Wesson Bodyguard 380. Let's do a safety check before I start. Nothing's in the magazine. Chamber is clear. So the gun is safety checked. I needed a smaller handgun to put in my purse and maybe on my hip or my inner thigh. And my Berser Thunder 380 was, in my opinion, a little bit too big. It kind of hurt the side of my hip. And the NAA was just too small. So I ran out and I purchased this little beauty right here. Honestly, this is a very lightweight, compact, and concealable handgun. I've owned it for maybe about 8 or 10 days, and after putting about 100 rounds of test ammo through it, I am pleasantly surprised but not yet won over. The Bodyguard normally costs around maybe $529, and of course, you know, I like to go out and I love a sale, so I grabbed this baby for about $400 with taxes and call-in fees. For all of those USA freaks, you'll be happy to know that Smith & Wesson is made in the good old US of A since 1852. So, yay! Anyway, on to the good and the bads about this 380 Bodyguard. My first impression of this gun was how cute and well made it is. The things I like about the gun is, as a woman and a beginner, you don't have to rack this slide back to see if there's a round in the chamber. There's a notch out right here on the top, if you can see it right there, and there's also one on the side. And you can actually see whether a round is chambered, so it shows a chambered round for those of you that like to see your rounds chambered. It also has a thumb safety feature, which is right here. And you can push it up and down. It's still a little stiff because, like I said, I've only shot about 100 rounds through it. The caliber of this gun is 380 ACP, which in my opinion is pretty sufficient enough stopping power. It also is solidly made, and it feels pretty good and hefty in the hand. And as you can see, it's not very big in my hand. It has a snug grip when you're holding it. For those of you that have pretty big hands, I have medium-sized to really large hands, and it still fits really snug in my hand. Two really important features are the slide does lock back, and you saw that. The slide locks back on the last shot, and it has a hidden hammer, and I'll show you that. If you can see it right there, there's the hammer, and it's hidden underneath the slide. So when you're pulling the trigger, you can see that right there. I don't know if you can see that. It comes out just enough for you to see it. So upon trigger pull, it's not completely exposed, but you can see it. There's a built-in integrated insight laser, which for once is a great added and included feature on a smaller gun. It's located right here. It has ambidextrous buttons on either side, so you can either press it with your index or your trigger finger on this side if you're right-handed, or your left index or trigger finger with this one. Most times, because this is such a stiff push right now, I just utilize it like this, and it has 3 positions. It has on, pulse, and off. I mean, that's a really decent feature that they included within the price, so you don't have to run out and grab a laser or anything of that nature. Now, the slide release or the slide stop, as well as the magazine release and the safety, are easily accessible with the thumb. And let me show you that. This is the safety, and it's pretty easily accessible with the thumb. And this is the magazine release, so if that's pulled back, you got that like that. And then you have your takedown lever is also easily accessible. That's right there. And your magazine release, which is right here. Now, the bads about this particular handgun is, once again, they only offer you 1 6-round magazine, which really sucks. I mean, I guess 6 rounds plus 1 in the chamber should be good enough, but I mean, for just a purse carry or a pocket carry, but in a crap hit the fan scenario, that is, one magazine is definitely not enough. Now the laser buttons, like I said, are a little stiff and awkward, so in a gunfight you probably won't be using the laser, and that's a bummer. The trigger pull on this particular handgun is really long and hard. I want to show you guys that. I don't know if you can see this, but watch. It's really long and hard, and I'm going to show you the hammer when I'm pulling that. So when you're out at the range and you're shooting this, it has a really long and very hard trigger pull, and you almost can't even tell when the gun is about to fire. And also, because of the heavy recoil and hard shooting, the trigger guard slams down really hard on your fingers, so that's another bad feature about this particular handgun. I had to reposition my hand and my grip quite often. In my opinion, practice is going to be the key in ownership of this particular handgun, hands down. Now, the specs and the measurements of the gun is quite adequate, with the length being about 5.25 inches, the height of it being right at about 4.1 inches, and the width being about 3/4 of an inch, and it weighs right at about 11.85 ounces. Now the front and back sights are stainless steel, drift adjustable, and it has polymer grips and frame. I'm going to see if I can get you a sight picture. I never can do this too well, but there's a good sight picture. And it's pretty hard to actually see these sights when you're shooting and get a really accurate. I mean, you get some good groupings, but it could be a heck of a lot better if the sights were painted or white, or maybe night sights or something of that nature. But I mean, it's not a bad, you don't get very bad groupings. It's pretty good, pretty accurate gun. Also, the slide and barrel are stainless steel with melanite and matte finishes. The Bodyguard came in a really cheap box, cardboard box, but Smith & Wesson included a carry case. I'm going to show you guys this. They included a carry case and a smaller pinky placement, which is right here. And if you want to, if your hands are a little bit smaller, you can replace the larger pinky placement with a smaller pinky placement on your magazine. As well as they also included the gun lock and the spent round and some literature in the box. But that's about it. That's about all that came with the Smith & Wesson Bodyguard 380. Practice is going to be key in ownership of this handgun, hands down. Once again, that's my review, so thank you for viewing. Say what? I just saw that pistol there new. And the magazine turned blue too.